Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your board. P-Funk, thinking right out here in the land. Why do what I do for you? I got a nice little lesson for you today. Something quick, but informative as usual. Let's go. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storyteller, story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give life lessons. Sometimes I go from the book. I got a nice book lesson for you today. So I'm going to break it down. Hopefully you get a good understanding. Let's do what we do. Right Thinker's mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right Thinker's way of life, through mental and spiritual discipline daily, will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers do just that. Know thyself. So I do what I do for you to make that happen for you. Let's go. Right think is the question I asked, or knowing thyself. Do you know you is the question I asked. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. Let's go. Knowing thyself. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard that. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Stay tuned. I got you. I appreciate you too. A person who knows not, and believes and think that they do is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. Excuse me. A person who knows but knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right think to know thyself. And to my eye, be true. I'm in the book. Oh yeah, initiations. Good information. What we're gonna do now, I'm about to introduce y'all to the Shetaut right thinkers. Excuse me. Let's talk about the 6 Shetaut Neterian traditions. So there's 6 things you can practice, 6 different concepts. 3 is from 3 different areas. So I'm gonna break it down for you as we go. All right. The concept is that the sage of Shetaut Neta enjoined that the Shimsu Netas, which are the followers of Shetaut Neta, the followers of Neta, and initiates, or we call it right thinkers or aspirants, you should listen to the wisdom of the Netarian traditions. Why? They are the myth related to what? To the gods and the goddesses, containing what? The basic understanding of who they are, what they represent, and how they relate to human beings and to who? The Supreme Being. The myth also allows us to what? Be connected to who? The divine through knowledge and understanding. So all that just believing in God, no, that don't get you nothing. Okay, so it's some things and lessons in life you can practice and learn. And they had it all up and down in Nile Valley. We start with what they call sheet. Okay, it says here an aspirant or right thinker. You are able to choose any one of the 6 Netarian traditions that suits your needs. Sound like the category of the yoga. Same thing. You find what fits you and you work with it. Like I got the TDJs. You said you find what works for you and you work it. No. It's killing me. The picture I have in my mind is not a good one, but that's my man phrase. You work it. If you find what works for you, you have to work it. Just because it works for you don't mean it's going to work. You have to work it. So that's my point. So let's go. Let's work these Shetaut concepts. Watch this. The first one is Shetaut Anu tradition is based on Shetaut Anu. Remember, Shetaut means what? Secret meaning, the hidden meaning. You're going to break down what it is, okay? Let's start with the Anuian tradition. That's the first one. It says the mystery teachings of the Anuian tradition are related to the divinity Ra, okay? He's their God. Watch this. And his company of gods and goddesses. Those are all the elements. I'm going to get to them in a minute. But and goddesses, watch this. This temple and its related temples espouse what? The teachings. The temples were for teaching, like the schools, not like the church. You go there, no. The temple, you come anytime, where you want, stay overnight, whatever, because it was constant lessons going on, it was constant teachings. Okay, that's what they was absorbed in, learning, gaining knowledge of self. Because lack of knowledge would be destructive to self. See where we're going with this? Hopefully you get the concept and start obtaining some knowledge for yourself. Let's go. Now, they espouse the teachings of, first of all, creation. I always teach the creation story. Why? That's the starting point. Excuse me. But that's why. And human origins, where we come from, and the path to what? Spiritual enlightenment. By means of what? The supreme being in the form of the God Ra. We know Amen is the hidden spirit. Ra is the seen. So they base their philosophy based on him. One guy gonna tell you Ra is God, but he's gonna be the last one. I got something for him too, but watch this. Now, it tells of what? How Ra emerged from the primeval ocean, tell the same story, and how human beings, watch this, were created from his tears. Did you know that? He was happy when the eye went and found Shu and Tufnu, brought him back. He was so happy he cried. His tears of joy was, man, human being. So we brought out of joy from God's tears. Did you know that? I didn't even get into that. See, it's a whole bunch of stories and lessons that just give you concepts that you can understand, mythological stories that you can learn and get knowledge from and understand them. That's why the Greeks are so famous for telling stories. They delivered a message. I know that. That's why I do the same thing. Why? That's what I know. That's what I learned. I don't feel back. I'm back to where I started from. My Egyptians. I got it from the Greeks. I just take it back home, and it still works. Why? That's where they got it from. That's why. All right, let me wrap this up for you. Now, the gods and goddesses who are what? His children. Again, so go to form what? The elements of nature, which is, remember, his children was air and moist air. Shu Tafnu, Geb was the earth, Nu was the heavens. Those was his children, but the aspects of him, from him, emulating to create nature so that we can, it sustain us. And those five elements is what sustains nature. The sixth is the spirit that's in man. The Christian tell you he liked what he did and he got into it. No, matter of fact, the Christian only put God in the man. I'm sorry about that. We tell you he was so enamored with his creation, he wanted to try it out. So he got a part of, gave up all his powers to become human. That's why we, in his image, we don't have the powers to do everything he did. Why? Because we're in human form. Now, that's why. So, quick lesson. I'm going to get it out the way. Now, let's go. Shetaut Neterian. Below, I'm going to break down right here. You're going to see a bunch of people at the bottom. You're going to see a little breakdown. Okay. Boy, if I had the PowerPoint, I'd be a bad man. But you see the start from the there, how it breaks down, branches off. But those people at the bottom, those are considered God and goddesses. They are aspects. We gave them identity. We put them in human form so that we could study them to make the point. Watch this. Now, this was done in the city of Anu. The god was Amun Ra. All right. The netters of creation, the company of gods and goddesses. They're going to break down netter, netteru, the nebersha, all encompassing. Amen, which is who? The hidden one, the unseen, the ever present supreme being, beyond duality and description. He's singular. He's on the one. I keep explaining that to you. But now you come down, you got Amen Ra, you got Amenet. That's the female aspect of Amun. Then you got, and she has her own thing going in the afterlife, in the duat, but that's where she realm. They call Amen. Amenta, excuse me. Now you got Shu, which is air. You got Tafnu, we understand is the water. Then you have Geb and Nu. I just broke that. Now those are the first five. Then you got Hathor, or Het which is the female aspect of Faru, which is the female spirit aspect of the spirit, lives in its own house. Het is house, Haru is spirit. So the spirit that lives in itself. Tahuti, which is the recorder, the scribe, he's God's mind. He's the one that keeps track of everything. You see him, he's God's reason, rationale, but he's your memory bank. He keeps track of everything. And you got my girl, Maya. Everything that we do is based on Maya. She represents order, reciprocity. That means what goes out comes back and goes back out and comes back. That's the chain, the infinity, and that goes. Maya is in control of that. That's why you see me give hers the balance concept. Now, the kids from God, the first was Osiris or Osar. Then you had Isis. No, wasn't Isis. Then you bought, excuse me, you had Osar the firstborn. Then you had Isis and Nephthys, but then you got Set. Now, Isis and Nephthys were twins, identical. They look just alike. Only thing different is the headdress. I'll give you a lesson on that in a minute. I think I already did, but that's the difference in them. But now, Set and Osar, two different things. Set, we don't know what he is. Osar, okay. Well, now, then you got uh, Anubis. Anubis, or excuse me, you got Horus. Horus was born alone with them, okay, but he was born grown, Haru-Ur. That's you in your supreme form, grown, adulthood. But they also going to give you the birth from Asar and Aset to create Osiris, the child, some Picard. He's growing up to be himself. That's you. That's us. That's what the stories represent. It's about us. Watch this. And it tells you every aspect of your life. They ain't miss a beat. You master that story, you have self-mastery. Why? Because you're going to know yourself. That's why. So that's this. Some people stop with this one. I got them all, deal, but let's go. This is the first one. I knew it. And now they show you where the first person to start out with from the right to left is you got Ra at the top. He's the one with the falcon head, with the sun disk, with the Uranus. That's him. Him and Haru will have the falcon head. Asar will have a human head until he dies and go into the underworld. Then he becomes so-called, he has the falcon head also. So all the falcon head guys were Haru, Asar, and Ra. Now you got from left to right, Shu, who has the feather in his head, ostrich feather, he wear the feather. Then you got Sekhmet, Tough Newt. She's the lioness with the uh, sun disk and the W rays. Now, then you have Newt. She's the lady with the starry decked holes in the bottom and the top because it was said that Ra would go in one and come out the other, swallow him up in the west and spit him out and give birth to him in the east and sunrise. Then you got Gad. He got a duck on his head. Another story with him, but he represents Earth. He's the great quack cackler, they call him. Then you got Aset. She had the horns and the sun disk with a throne. She represents royalty. She made the king, Asar. He is the one with the double plume hat crossed on. He don't do nothing. All he do is just stand. He got it made in the shade. Then you got Set, the art bar dog, jackal looking thing, don't know what he is. Then you got Netet. She's the twin sister to Iset. They are inseparable. They're always together. Now, then you got Haru-Ur and all his regalia with his double plume stuff, his ears, and his whole nine get up. He's dressed in gold. That's the Arnuian tradition. And they give you the story of each one of them guys has a story. You learn the story, you master the concept, you emulate it, you be like them, you'll understand. Okay? That's the Arnuian tradition. Next, we're going to Shetaut Neterian, the teaching of Ptah tradition. Now, who was this one? The Memphites, okay? This is called Shetaut Neterian. The mystery teachers of the Memphite tradition are related to what? The Neterus, known as Ptah, the self-created one, Sekhmet, and Nefertim. That's the trinity for them. Ptah, Sekhmet, offspring of Nefertim. The myth and the philosophy of these divinities constitute the Memphite theology. These temples and its related temples espouse the teachings of creation again, human origins, and the path of spiritual enlightenment. They all getting you to the same place like religion. All religions to get you to God, bring you to God. That's what they're all supposed to do. They ain't get a job done, but that's the concept. So I respect and understand religion in this rarest form. It's the same thing. Practice something every day to be better. Now, you got all of them teach you for what? Spiritual enlightenment by means of what? The supreme being in the form of this God. Their God is Ptah, not Amen Ra. Okay, they got Ptah and his family who compose the Memphite Trinity. It tells of how Ptah emerged from the primeval ocean, and how he created the universe by his what? Will and the power of thought, the mind. He thought himself into existence, and then he uttered himself the words of power, Heka, and became into existence. We say put with a solid so understand that. But now the gods, watch this. The gods and the goddesses who are what? His thoughts again go to form the elements of nature. Again, watch this. And the cosmic forces, they're still at work, that maintain nature. His spouse, Sekhmet, she also has a powerful temple system in her own name. You check, Google her, and that is related to the Menphite teachings. And the same is true for his son, Nefertim. They all have their story that you can follow and mimic and become like them. Absorb the concept, emulate it, put it into your daily life, and you become master of yourself with these concepts. Trust me. Now watch this. It says here, this is called Shetaut Neterian. Below we had the Menphite cosmology. Now this is how they breakdown comes. The city of Hecapata is what it was. The natives of creation, again, the company of God and goddesses, Neteru, Nebercha, top one. Now you still got Amun, the hidden one, right? Ever present supreme being, beyond duality and description. That's still the one. But now their concept is Ptah, is their God, and Sekhmet is his wife. And we had in Anu, Asar, or you had Asar and Aset. Here they're using Ptah Sekhmet and they get offspring, which is Nefertim. One with the hands in the mouth. Okay. Now it breaks down from here. You got the elements. You got the noon. The noon is the prime evil ocean, unformed matter. Right? Now you got the opposite is what? Noonet. The females don't have the T in the last part of their name, don't have a T. Most of them. A few different ones. I'll get into that some other time. But if you hear T, the last name, that's the female derivative. Then you got heaven and creation formed matter. That's Nunet, the opposite of the noon. Okay. Then you got Q. He represents boundlessness, and his companion mate is boundless, Huet. Then you got Kuk, represents darkness. Opposite of darkness is what? Kuket, light. See? Then you have Amun, the hidden one, and his mate is Amenet, manifested. See? And all these concepts are to teach you to get to the supreme being, aka the virtue of all absolute. We know him as God. Okay. Now, next one, number 3, we got where we at? Excuse me. Okay. Now we in the town of Waset. Now, she taught. Why not? Remember the hidden meaning behind Waset and the teachings of Amun tradition. Now, Amun's a bad man. Amun's the one you see with the 10 plumes, look like the 10 commandment tablets on his head. I gotta show you this guy. Oh, this is that was Patel and Ahmed and his wife Sekhmet and Nefertim. And this is, you see a boy, he got a whole bunch of people. When I say to hear any noise, it's just me and the boys. This is Amun. He traveled with a pack of about 15 guys and goddesses. he, he, he like a rock star. He traveled with a crew, all right? But when he going to fight Apophis at night, he going to need all of them. That's the concept. But let's talk about the Theban tradition. Now we're talking about Shetaut Amun. Yeah. The mystery teachings of Wasetian traditions are related to the Neterus known as Amun. His wife is Mut. Now, Mut considered the great mother because she wears the vulture headdress, and their son is Kansu, the guy with the. You see ever see the King and I? We had the bald head and the little that lock. That's what Kansu wears. All right, he got the little lock on the side. They call it Prince lock. All right. Now this temple and it related temples espouse the teachings again of creation. They all teach the creation story. However it is, whatever concept, is still the creation story. You got the human origins, and it's all the path of spiritual enlightenment. They trying to teach you, in a way, where you are, you're going to get taught. Like the easy way and the hard way. But that what they was into, teaching concepts that will help you better yourself. Why? Because you didn't want to die twice. Another concept. What's this? But by the means of supreme being, in the form of this time, the goddess Amun or Amun Ra, it tells of who Amun and his family, the Trinity, Amun, Mu, and Kansu, managed the universe along with his company gods. It's a bunch of them. I ain't gonna go through all of them, but it's a lot of them. Right? Now the temple became very important in the early part of what the New Kingdom era. All right. Below, you see the Trinity, Amun and the company of gods and goddesses. You got Amun sitting on the throne. You got Mut behind him and the son, Kansu behind him and his dog. Down the bottom, it got from 1 to 15. So you got 12 other god and goddesses. And then pretty much that you got Amsu, I see Aset, I see Tahuti, I see Neptat, I see Mehert, I see Amen. I see Nefertim. I see Haru. I see Anubis. I see Hathor. I see we got two jackals. Anubis again. All these guys are aspects of your character, and he breaks it down. Sound familiar? Oi, how about this? Amun had 12 aspects. I'm just saying. It's 12 of them. That's what I want to let you know. Sound familiar? All right, let's go. All right, I'm going. Let me write this down. I'm almost done. Then you got the goddess tradition. Now, this is all females. Remember, ancients, we revered the woman. We had, I still do. Maya is my favorite. I could care less why, because I know what she represents. That's what the importance of the aspects of all the god and goddesses. You find one that suits you and you rock. A lot of people pick the name Haru. Some people teach my student, his name is Tahuti. Okay. I got one of the students, Nefertim. Some names you want to take because if you adopt that concept, then it fits you. If, if it don't fit you, unless you take the name, or you can live up to it, don't have the name. P-Funk, pure real. If I can't be pure real, I can't be P-Funk. So that's the concept. Let's go. Now that got the goddess tradition, Shetaut Netritt, Netrit. That's the concept of Iraq, which is the serpent power. That's why she's seen as a serpent with a sun disk and the horns. Cow horn. You see the horns of the female, those are cow horns. You see the ears laid out, that's Aries, the ram. With the man, that's who Amun was, the head. He represents the star of the zodiac constellation. I got a lesson for that coming. I keep forgetting. I got a nice zodiac lesson for you. If the whole body is really a zodiac and you break it up. I got that lesson coming for you. Let me wrap this up. Here you go. Now, the hieroglyphic sign for Iraq means goddess. Generally throughout ancient Kemet, watch this, the mystery teachings of the goddess traditions are related to the divinity and the form of the goddess. The goddess was an integral part of all Neterian traditions, but special temples also developed around the worship of what? Certain particular goddesses, who were also regarded as who? Supreme beings. Again, we share the limelight. It wasn't just one. No, even the one can be male or female. The male and female aspect comes in the form of human. Spirit don't need to be recognized as male and female. That's why ain't no sex in heaven. Ain't no bodies. Sorry about that. Get the concept. And they were supreme beings in what? In their own right. Thus, in ancient African religions, the goddesses as well as the female gender was respected and elevated to the male divinities as well as the male divinity. I mean, they were just as high. Equal billing, I keep telling you. The women are on top anyway. Why? Because they got the move, they got the curve, they represent movement. We just sit there and that some of you when you get old, that's but no, the concept is the women they move, men stationary. That's the concept. Male and female, we just use it like that. Watch this. Now, the goddess was also the author of what? Creation, giving birth to what as a great cow. The following are the most important forms of the goddesses. I got 5 of them. Okay, they bad girls. Okay, and each one of them, if you learned it and understood them, ooh, buddy, your character, your as a woman would increase. Trust me. Why? Because you know how to be a real woman from that aspect. Let's start with Aset. She's Tsar's wife, counterpart. She ran the country when he was on the out and about. She can handle her business, and she's the original ride or die. When he got killed, the first time she went and found him. Second time he got cut up, she went and found him. Don't get no better than that. But she ain't the top. Watch this. You got somebody else. Now, this is my favorite. Net. Okay. A lot of people don't know about her. I gave a lesson about her a while ago. Now, usually you see her with a bow and arrow, a shield, and two arrows in the bow. Why? She's the original bullseye. When she let that arrow go, Jack, it's going to hit his mark. That's and you can't do that. You're a sinner. When you learn how to hit the mark by doing what's right and being on point with yourself, I use that philosophy from her. That's where I got that from. And she also was a spool on the side, on top of her headdress. Why? Because she's the weaver. She weaves the matrix around us. Okay. Now her and Mayat were together. Okay, synonymous. Watch this. Then you got Sekhmet. Sekhmet was who Ra sent out to take care of all the unrighteous people. And she came down here in the lion form and she was getting all the unrighteous. But what happened? The unrighteous and the righteous started looking too much alike, and she couldn't distinguish between the two. So she just started eating everybody. But she's the destructive force that can't be stopped. The phrase "hell have no fuel like a woman's scorn," she is the representation of that concept. That's where it comes from. Okay, they talk about Athena, the warrior god in Greek. No. Sekhmet is the one. Okay, then you got Mu, which considered, I told you about her, the great mother. That's the mother, that's the wife of Amun. She represents, she wears the vulture crown. Why? Because she will do whatever she has to do to take care of hers or protect her. You don't want to mess with a woman with their kids. That's the last thing you want. The man is tough, but not the woman. The lioness, they go out and do the hunting. The man, he take the heavy lifting. If they can't handle it, he come in and do his thing. But mostly he let the women do that. All right, so that's just nature. Again, nature is the perfect example of how we can mimic them and be better. All right, watch this. Then you got my girl, Hathor or Hathor. She represents fertility, divinity, and pretty. It was said that when Ra was feeling a little gloomy, he wasn't feeling too good, and she flashed him that thing, and he smiled. I love it. So, quick lesson. But then you got my favorite goddess. Her name is Mihert. She's considered the mighty full one, okay? And she's in the cow form, but she got all her regalia. And she's the one that she said she gave birth to Ra, okay? So she is. And I got a friend of mine, a Christian sister. I call her my blissed out sister. This who she reminds me of. I gotta let her know. I gave her that title. You meet her, the mighty full one. She's full of herself, which is good, which is God's grace. That's not egotistic or nonsense. No, she's full with everything she needs, and she carries herself real nice and classy, elegant. I respect that about her. Oh Lord, I'm not done. I'm not done. I gotta get this sorry in one, and this is one of my classics. We almost there. Okay, we almost home. Let me take it out. Now you got the siren tradition. She taught Asar. We're going to learn about Asar. And these are temples. That's where you went to learn about them. That's what they taught. Now, this temple and the related temples espouse the teachings of, again, creation, human origins, and the path to spiritual enlightenment. Spiritual enlightenment was the name of the game of our ancients. It's been over 2,000 years. It's been a bugaboo for our last 10 generations or more longer, where lack of it is killing us. Moving on. So that's why everything you hear is all geared for what? Spiritual enlightenment by the means of Supreme Being in this one form, the form of God Asar. It tells us how Asar and his family, the Trinity of Asar, Aset, Haru, managed the universe and led human beings to spiritual enlightenment. And here we go, the resurrection. There you go, of the soul. Sound familiar? God's only begotten Son. And Haru wasn't even God's only begotten Son. He was Anubis was Osiris' firstborn. I'm just giving a little tidbit, a little history, a little something, something. So that's, that story. He said his only begotten son. If we are his children, how could he have one begotten son? Just saying. So some of the stuff just don't work. All right, here you go. So the resurrection of the soul, that's where the concept comes from. This temple and his teachers were very important from what? The pre-dynastic era down to Christian period. Just saying. The mystery teachings of the Assyrian tradition are related to what? The Neterians, known as Asar, Aset, Haru, or formerly better known from the Greek names Osiris, Isis, and Horus. But that's the life story of us. That's the one. If you master that one, you will know thyself. I'm trying to tell you. Now, the tradition of Asar, Aset, and Haru was practiced generally where throughout the land of ancient Egypt. The centers of their traditions were the city of Edbu, Jeddu, containing the great temple of Asar. Again, they said, no, that's too much time. I got to go. Now, the city of Palek contained the great temple of Aset. And then everybody know about Etfu contains the great temple of Haru, where outside they got the big falcon body of Haru. That was his temple. They all have things that you can learn from in life. Trust me on that one. You would enjoy it. It's a good read. It's a good lesson to learn. A good life lesson. Why? That'll help you a lot from inside with your thinking and understanding of who you are. AKA know thyself. I'm wrapping it up. I'm about to take it home. Now this guy here, he was called a heretic pharaoh. Akhenaten. Okay, he was Thutmose the fourth. He changed his name to Akhenaten. Here we go. Now, and his thing was we doing Shetaut Atum. Atum is what he called that spirit in the sky. We call Ra the sun. He said that was God. He was a sage. So I'm not gonna get too much in it. I'm glad I say that for that because I'm not gonna go. But this is a lesson in its own. I got something for you. Don't worry, I got it. Let's go. Shetaut Atum. What happened there? This temple and its related temples espouse the teachings of again creation, human origins, and the path to again spiritual enlightenment. He had his concept to get you spiritual enlightenment. I ain't agree with it, but watch this. Now, by the means of the supreme being, watch this, in the form of the God Atum. It tells of how Atum, with its dynamic life force, created and sustained creation. Me being that dude, if he create life, yeah, he brings the heat, yeah, he do that, but he ain't conscious. Come on now, come on, I'm just saying. Let me move on. I'm trying to eat it, but I just if I don't agree with stuff, I'm gonna let you know why and how I don't agree with it as I go along. So I'm just saying that don't work for me. So being recognized, watch this. Being recognized by recognized, attuned as the very substratum of all existence. Human beings engaged. Okay, we at least we know Ra. We were the tears from him. What that sun? That thing hot. What can we get from that sun other than heat and light? I ain't got that much time, but I'm just saying. Watch this. Now, engage in, watch this. He tell you the very stratum of existence and human beings engage in what? Devotional exercise and rituals to the sun and the study of the hymns, watch this, containing what? The wisdom teachings of Atum explaining that Atum managed the universe and leads human beings to spiritual enlightenment and eternal life for their soul. Really? This temple and its teachings were very important in what? In the Middle New Kingdom. The mystery teachings of Atum traditions are related to what? The Netta Atum, and its main exponent was the sage king Akhenaten, who is depicted below with his family adoring the sun disk symbol of Atum. You see this side, you see a guy with the sun rays coming down on him, you know what I'm saying? But that's his daughter. He got 4 daughters, I think it was. And he had no heir to the throne, so he built up a whole new city called Amana. He moved everything to all. He did what we need to do right now. Take all the preachers, close up all the churches, and just become spiritual beings and connect with our higher self on our own terms. I know that won't happen, but that's what we need to understand. Why? Because they just killing this thing. Let me wrap it up. Okay, now it said for more information, y'all got all the information. But that's it. And I got some things here that the general principles of Shetaut Neterian, aka right thinking principles that we live by. Right quick. It ain't but a few of them. The purpose of life is to what? Attain, listen, the great awakening, aka spiritual enlightenment, or know thyself. That's the number one thing that they thought about. So I'm big on knowing thyself. I make my whole philosophy based on getting you the information so that you can do just that. So again, we enjoy Shetaut Neterian enjoys what? Shedi, which is spiritual investigating, intense study on what? The highest endeavors of life. Things you need to know yourself, the gods, and how nature and how creation works, how the world works around you, so you can get involved with it, knowing God for yourself through experiences for yourself. And Shetaut Neterian enjoys that if it is a responsibility of what? Every human being to what? Promote order and truth. Every individual. You don't need a house and a bunch of stuff. Every individual take responsibility. That's how they did it. Moving on. Shetaut Neterian enjoyed the performance of what? My favorite. Selfless service to family, community, and humanity. It don't get no better than that. Quickly, Shetaut Neterian also enjoys what? The protection of nature. We tearing nature apart. We ripping nature new one. She's gonna get a little upset and she will fight back. Be careful. Shetaut Neterian also enjoys the protection of the weak and oppressed. If you want to take advantage of people because they less than what you have or don't have the things you have, that's not a good person. Okay? That ain't that ain't the right thinker. Moving on. Now, we also enjoy the caring for the hungry. We also enjoy caring for the homeless. We also enjoy the equality of all people. We also enjoy the equality between men and women. We also enjoy the justice for all. Also enjoy the sharing of our resources. And more important right here, we enjoy the protection of proper raising of children. It's way down here at the bottom. This thing needs to be moved up. I read that because I need to move that. It's at 13. No. Sorry about that, but we got to get better. I'm so tired of seeing kids wild out, and I'm at the mall. I'm freaking out. These parents are not parenting the children. The kids wild out, and they just let it wild out. Now, last one, again, also enjoying what? The movement toward balance and peace within oneself. And then it's spread to others. Start with yourself, know thyself, become a better person for yourself, and others will benefit from that too. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. I'm out. I got to go, but we need to get better at doing what we do. I'll be doing what I can do for you. You got to put your work in too.